Hey guys, it's AK, and welcome back to some more Space Engineers. So, you can see I did a few things. I finished out a little bit of the coloring paint job. I wanted these to finish building while I was on stream. So, or not on stream, on recording. So, the Intech cubes. I left it processing overnight, got 5 more impossibility cores. I will get more later as I go. I also got the rest of these out of my assembler and got those built. Although you can tell by the yellow color, they have nothing in them right now. So, we have our cargo containers, we have our basics of our insides, we have the outside completed, and I added this like back section just for aesthetically pleasing reasons. It does not serve a purpose. And apparently Poke has parked a ship 2K in that direction. So, I'm going to be careful when I go in that direction. So let's go ahead and let it take these impossibility cores and install them. If I can get in my door. Now it's going to take those right away. And you can see the flashes that are coming from in here as it finishes all these up. And then I will look into these and show you the efficiency, the productivity, and I think there's one more. It's efficiency, productivity, and power or something. Oh, productive, effective, and power efficiency. And they are all at 7100 with these 7 modules on. So they do a lot of work really quickly. So we need to get a few things set up still. First, we need a shield controller. So let's come in here. Let's just stick it to the ceiling. I need an interior plate to start that build. First thing we're going to do, guys, we're going to go back up to this little patchwork engine. I'm actually going to put 200 of those back. And we're just going to grab a little bit of every resource here. Never know what you're going to need. And then come on down here to this big opening. Let's stick the shield controller right there, which will get welded up pretty quick as soon as the device recognizes that it's even there. What I want to do is Oh, something happened there. Something happened my game didn't like. Apparently I did something that caused Space Engineers to crash, so I will be right back, guys. And we're back, guys. I don't know why breaking that particular block caused the whole thing to crash, but I actually needed to break this one. So let's hope for the best here. And it seems to have accepted that block breaking pretty questionlessly. So I do not know what happened before. And I have no idea what I'm going to do there. And then let's go through here. And we're actually going to go back in here.
Energy critical.
I know my energy's critical. You can quit it. And I'm just going to use this to power up, because this is much quicker. 10 to 51, 51 to 93, and all the way up to 100 really quickly. It doesn't give me hydrogen or oxygen, because it's not actually conveyored up to anything. Because at the time it didn't really seem necessary. I just needed it for a respawn point. But we're pretty close to being able to cut this thing free. It needs uranium for the reactors. GDOR. I could do that one. That one looks cool. Oh, but that's a 3x3. What is this? Well, let's see how big this one is. How big is this one? That one's a 1x1. This raises so many questions. So let's say we place that, because that's actually interesting, and I'm curious to see like how that plays out, or if that's just like the way it looks when it's Oh, I don't like the fact that it says outer door, but that's okay. All things considered. And it does actually let me through it. Okay, so grand scheme of things here. I want this to be connected like that. But I'm going to do this a little interestingly. I'm going to grab this conveyor air vent here. And I'm going to place it here. So all of this will be able to be pressurized once this outer door is closed. Which I'm going to do now. Takes it a minute to close that. So obviously that's not a very fortified entrance, but it is what it is. And it's going to start immediately filling this room with oxygen, which is fine. And this one up here, I guess up here I'll just leave that open instead of trying to somehow conveyor it up here, because the door was there for aesthetics anyhow. Let's just make sure that when this does its thing that door isn't like withholding the air. Okay. O2, it says O2 low. I'm guessing it might have ran out of oxygen, because this is a pretty big space. But I'm also getting O2 low up here. So let's build the bridge. So we're going to want a flight seat. And this is going to be like where the flight captain sits, which would be me. But I also am going to want sub-seats. Here and here. So that if I need to have somebody like controlling weapons once I get them put in, I have that option. Oh, that reminds me, I haven't put in weapon systems at all. Let's go this way, because this one's already rotated from us coming in. So now we have a way to fly it. But I have to go back in, because I'm a dingy and I forgot that I closed that door so that we could oxygenate the system. Which we can quickly correct that issue by doing this. Depressurize on. And it's going to start sucking that oxygen back in. Once that hits the final bar and it's done taking in the oxygen, should be done any minute now. It's done. Okay. Now we aren't going to blow out any oxygen. And that's kind of what I was wanting. So that I can have that open, so that I can come and go in here. So we got our hatch. We got our shield stuff. We got some storage, which this side still needs to be conveyored up. But I actually kind of want to do it across here. So just so I have extra like ways to conveyor things. But I'm also going to do it over here for redundancy, in case something gets struck by an incoming round. So, as you can tell, we have refineries, but no assembler. So, let's grab an assembler. What's this? Oh, that's just a basic assembler. Never mind. So, let's grab it in place of that. I need it to be somewhere like right here, where all of its sides are accessible for upgrades. And it actually is in a pretty good position right there. Yeah, I think that's actually where I'm going to put it. Because that makes it very, very accessible to get into, and it makes it very, very accessible for the upgrade slots. So that's all set up. I have the impossibility cores on these, which will still be something that I get done, like, for how I'm going to use them later. Because I'm going to build a hangar bay, and I'm going to build a small grid ship to fit in the hangar bay. Hopefully we don't have any issues with those anymore. If we do, that's fine, I can work with it. As far as sustainability goes, this has mild sustainability. We still need the quality of, or not the quality of life, the daily needs stuff. So let's grab that. So we need a water recycler. We need a enclosed hydroponics bay, and we need a food resequencer. We could use a soil tray, but for right now, that's not something we're looking at because we don't have the stuff to make everything for that. And then hydroponics, and then water recycler. Oh, I need girder. Thought I grabbed girder, but apparently I did not. Let's come back down in here. Alright, now we got all 3 of those. And at least that means we won't starve. But we also need fuel. This thing is big. It requires some fuel. So let's actually take a quick stock here. Go to inventory. So we have a K there. But 1K is not going to be enough overall. But I will take it. Because it's better than nothing. Actually, let's wait to put the fuel in until we're about to leave, though. The only thing we still need to build for this ship to be fully functional is probably the hangar. Because we're going to need to be able to build a small grid to put in it for mining. So let's first move this back so that it's going to be fully capable of welding everything up. Trying to level this out so that it's level with that. Okay, that's ready. So let's start building the hangar. 9, 10. Let's make it 11 so that there's a middle point. So 2, 6, 10, 11, and then let's go straight across. Now this should be sufficient for a good-sized miner, because I intend for the miner to take up the entirety of the hangar bay for the most part, with a little bit of wiggle room because I don't want to be too overzealous with it. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to connect it to the conveyors in the rear section. So what I might do is I might cut a hole right there, or I could remove this part of the wall all the way forward and run conveyors that way. But it would be simpler just to do it this way. Yeah, there's the cargo container. Yeah. So I need a conveyor. So we want to put that there. But we do not want it to run along the wall. We want it to run down the wall. Because these conveyors can seal up the wall. They have air tightness. So let's actually just fill in the floor right now. Because I don't have a solid idea of what I'm going to do for a miner. I got a couple of just errant ideas bouncing around in my head. Oh, Pop a block in there. And yes, I know I just covered the conveyor that I just put out. Don't worry, it's part of the plan. I'm going to be deciding on where the connector is going to be once I am done laying the groundwork. And this thing will have its own build and repair systems and everything once it's completely done. Let's go down a little. And then put that block there. How I'm going to seal this is going to be another question of, well, I have to remove that 1x3 door and put a rotary airlock and then just leave this open to space, because that feels a little chintzy to me. So we've only got the standard hangar doors, but they have like a gate. Okay, wait, now I'm curious about that. Ooh, interesting. So a gate looks kind of like a hangar door, and it looks like it has a 3-block opening. It's obviously not going to be like a solution for this scenario, but it's at least an interesting thing to know about. So it takes up 1 block, and then looks like it expands 2. Yeah, it expands 2. So I can get a 4-block space between 2 of them. And that's a really tight fit. So that's going to be interesting to try to figure out how to do. Because I can't think of a single way to get around this whole thing of wanting to be able to pressurize it. Pistons is another way, but pistons have they have a habit of being unreliable and causing explosions. So I'm kind of hesitant to use them. It kind of makes me nervous to try to use them when they have such a high unreliability rate, especially if they're in movement. Oh, I just bumped my face against the patchwork engine. I could call this the Aurora 2.0, but I'm trying to think of a new name for it, because this isn't quite the rudimentary build that the Aurora was. I could call it the Borealis, but I just feel like that's not really good. You know, I will think about that. Military escort. Interesting. Let's do some ideas with pistons and see what we get. Because I do have my concerns about pistons and the fact that they have a huge tendency to be a gigantic pain. So let's actually stop and see what we get out of this. So let's go into this Equalize the virtual masses of connected grids to achieve a more stable behavior. Reverse. So let's see how far this spans. That's a pretty good length. And with the hanger, I just put FA instead of HA. Let's put that to closed. It's actually a pretty good chunk of the distance. I like the idea, but it's kind of frightening because I'd have to have multiple of these. Let's see for airtightness. They have absolutely none, from what I can tell. Yeah, because blue shows which sides are airtight, and this has no blue on it. So we're back to the point where I wouldn't be able to pressurize this section of the ship. But it does give me a little bit more coverage without sacrificing having a door at all. Because I don't know how far would that reach? When extended, it has airtightness. So I need to bring this side out one block and then have pistons on one side. But it does give me a much wider opening for my hanger. And I do like that. And I can scooch that forward to close off the front end. I don't know. I can make this airtight by putting something over it, but then that would kind of just take away from the whole idea of having an extra large opening. I don't know how to make this airtight. I'll have to come back with some ideas about this. All I know for sure is that I can put these... Oh, I need steel plates. I probably used all of them up when I did that that base placing and then this. So I know that I'm going to button this up like this and then just flushing it out all the way through.
Energy low.
Why doesn't it want me to place this? There it goes. Oh, I think it's because that thing's wiggling a little inside and out of it. So let's grab this and reverse it. And see if it stays stable while it's pressed up against that. Doesn't look like it will. Because this thing, I did tell it to reverse. Okay. So let's try this with a hanger door first. Open. Is that gonna work? Yeah, that works. But I don't know if it'll continue. What just happened? Because I do want that top to be open. Because I like the way the top being open looks. Pardon me. Now let's see if, now that that wall is built a little more, it'll retract. Oh, did it get...
Energy critical.
Did it accidentally get connected to something? I know my energy's critical. Give me a minute. My curiosity, is it stuck on something? Probably not going to be this close to it while it's having issues. But I think that you can't have blocks this close to it or it malfunctions. So we are kind of back at square one. Oh! Okay. Huh. So it was the fact that you didn't like that being attached while that was going on. Maybe it's dragging on something or grabbing it as it goes by. I'm gonna have to look up and see if there's like some way to do that. Or see if the admin can get a hold of some longer doors. Because I honestly have no idea how I'm going to set this up now. Alrighty then. I guess that is what it is. I will figure that out at some point that is not now. Because it does not need to be dealt with at this moment. I will probably be taking that out and putting rotary airlock instead. Or putting in an extra door so that I can have these and have them be operational. Because these don't seem like a viable option at the moment. Because as far as this goes, this works great. But it's only going to work great as long as it's not connected to something. Now that I put that block on it while it's moving, hopefully it was at full extension. It does not look like it got to full extension. Yeah, it looks like that block is now getting caught on something. Proof of concept. Curiosity is going to kill me. Or damage my ship. One of the two. Because I know that turning those all the way up is going to be a bad idea. Why do I feel like as soon as I hit reverse, this is going to go horribly wrong? What? It's wiggling, and that's making me nervous that it wiggles. Might be because I turned this off. It wiggles a little, but it's not destroying anything. And it's not destroying itself, more importantly. Oh, I did not mean to do that. Add a piston head. Okay. So let's see if it'll do that with a hanger door on it. Probably the dumbest thing anyone's ever said. Yeah, this didn't work so well. Let's try and stick something that's not quite meant for this on top of it and see if that works any better. You know, I'm actually okay with this. But before I fully say that, we should probably apply the rest of the pistons and group them up. So let's do that. 7. Oop, that is the wrong thing. That was 8. Now my body's in the way. This is the greatest idea anyone's ever had. I'm being sarcastic with myself, by the way, guys. This is probably the dumbest idea anybody's ever had. Or at least one of the dumbest anyone's ever had. Come on. Now it's just got to build those heads. Let's even see if this is a real possibility here. Let's place the first one and see if it'll even allow us to place the second one. Okay. You know what? It's allowing us to place multiples. So let's see what happens here. It's not liking it in some of these points. But it's definitely doing what I'm telling it to. Why do I get this sinking feeling that something is about to go horribly, horribly wrong with what I'm doing here? Piston. Share inertial tensioner. Velocity point -1. Max force. PISTONS. Okay. And watch things go horribly wrong. What? What am I witnessing here? I just witnessed it work perfectly. As confusing as that is. It just apparently needed the force to be able to push past the blocks that they were rubbing. I'm very confused by that. But that gives me a lot... Ow. This gives me a lot of extra space to be able to get a ship in and out. I unfortunately probably won't... Well, I could probably hide this a little. Because they sink into here, so those can go over it. So I can actually start placing these. and it can continue along with the ship's design. Oops, did not mean to do that. So let's pick the stuff that makes out this block. And I'll probably find a way to hide the backside of the pistons. I'll probably take regular colored slants and then run them along this edge and that edge, just to make it look nice, because I want to hide the other part of the pistons. I said slants, but I meant slopes. So get these going like that. And then probably stick one of these at each end so it rounds it off. And then there. So here in a second I will no longer have access to those. So I need to access this one. And then reverse these pistons while these blocks are here to see if it damages them or destroys them. That one kind of wiggled, but as long as I don't open or close this while I'm moving, I should be fine. So, H-A-N-G. Wow, these are all kinds of colorful. And I'm not even entirely sure why. Save that. View in terminals off. Okay. So I won't be able to make this airtight. I can already tell you that. So I'll have to find a way of making my own version of airtightness. I probably wouldn't be able to do that, because I need this kind of space to be able to get a ship in that's of any proportionate mining size, and that's going to be a little difficult as it is. So I'm just going to have to accept the fact that this room will not be airtight, at least for the time being. Once I figure out a more solid plan, I will definitely change the design. For right now, this is not a bad plan. It's not my greatest plan, but it's not a bad one either. So let's grab a button panel. Doesn't need to be able to depressurize, it just needs to be able to... So for here, groups, pistons, and let's do reverse. And then hangar doors, open, close. So pistons would get reversed first. And this is just to try to make the hangar a bit safer. And then hangar doors. Oh god, please don't let this be the thing that freaks it out. Not bad at all. I still need some lights in here. And you can definitely see that there's holes there, which are kind of unfortunate. But this is the best option I could think of. And it's really not all that great of an option. Because you have to do it in the proper sequence. Hangar doors. Let's test this theory. Oh, the pistons and the hangar doors can retract at the same time. That one wiggled a little bit. Not enough to be concerned. There you go, guys. We have our own hangar. And it's not a bad size either. It's a pretty good size hangar. So I need to continue these black blocks along the sides and get them filled out. And then build the mining ship. So, actually, why don't we put together lights real quick, and then we'll do the mining ship. Because I need to do lights, then I need to bind the lights. So, let's put one on either side. And then, so 1, 2. And then 1, 2. Let's see how many is between it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's just do it every 2, or every other block. Of course, that's uneven. Oh, because I was an idiot. One, 2, then the light. 1, 2, then the light. I was blind. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So right here is in the middle of those two. 1, 2, then the lights. And come all the way onto this side. 1, 2, then the light. 1, 2, 3. Interior lights, radius, intensity, and I think that's all it needed to be. Those are pretty good. And then I'm going to want...
No
Oh,
energy.
crud. No energy, that's bad for me. I know it said no energy earlier and I just wasn't paying attention, or low energy earlier and I just wasn't paying attention. I think this actually will restore my health up to 80. Oh no, I guess it's not 80. I guess I'll get to test that at some point. I think it's either 80 or 70. Something like that. So, I'm going to get... Nope, these. And I'm holding the wrong buttons. Put 2 blocks in between these. 3 blocks in between these. I'm going to have to cut that one off too, because that one was turned sideways. One, 2, 3, and here. 1, 2, 3, and here. 1, 2, 3, and here. 1, 2, 3, and here. So there is a purpose to this. First, I'm going to do this one as blue. And then radius is going to be 10 meters. Intensity can be up. Blink interval. Let's do every 5 seconds. every 2 seconds. I like that one better. So let's have that at 50%. And then I want this one to be red. I want its radius to be 10. And its intensity can be all the way up. And its blink interval to be 2. And its length to be 50. I kind of want them to alternate. So to get them to alternate, maybe I can just do blink interval of 1.5 instead of 2. Or maybe 1.5 and 2.5. Blink interval 2.5. Maybe I'm going about this wrong. Because the interval isn't what the issue is. Interval. So let's leave that at 2. That is not what I meant to do. And blink offset at 10. And this one's blink offset at 20. Okay. So this one will be blue. No, this one will be red. Because I wanted to alternate the colors. 10. Intensity can go all the way up. Blink interval, 2 seconds. Blink offset of 10. I left these guys higher, huh? 10%. 10%. Okay, so the right one's 10%. What is this one? 20. Okay, so the left side is 20% for blink offset. Or the left side, sorry. Right side is 10. Oh, no, blue all the way up. Red and green all the way down. Radius of 10. Intensity of max. Blink interval of 2. Blink offset of 10. That looks terrible. That looks absolutely atrocious. And weirdly enough, I'm happy with that. So, what is this one's interval? This one's interval is 20. Ew. Let's do this. Reset them. And that, weirdly enough, didn't reset them. This one's at blink offset of 20. This one's at blink offset of 20. But this one's interval was different, wasn't it? Yeah, this one's 1.5 instead of 2. Now let's go back and see how that looks. That looks better. That explains a lot. So this one is supposed to be red. 10. Max intensity. Blink interval of 2. Blink offset of 20. Blue. 10. Maxed. Interval of 2. Offset of 10. I'm okay with this. So what I can really do to make this interesting is, what's this one set to? 20. I think this one's already set to 20. No, this one's set to 10. This one should be 10. What is this one set to? I need to make sure it's the opposite. This one's 20. Okay, so 10. This one should be 20. And the other one should be 10. I like it. I like it a lot. Alright, I guess it's time to close these. So beautiful. Let's open those because I'm an idiot. Get some fuel. Dock patchwork engine up. Let's refill on health and energy. And let's go take all of the fuel out of this reactor. And this reactor, apparently. Because this one's apparently where it was all going. Okay, so now this space will run off the 2 arc reactors there. And then we're going to go out next time and build ourselves a small grid ship. But first, let's throw something in here before I make an error. The one thing I always forget. I don't know if it needs 1,000 times gyro, because that's real strong. But let's take this back here in this corner. And we'll make it even. We'll put 2. And let's hope that's not a little bit of overkill. If it is, I can always dial back the power. Let's hope we get these welded up so we can cut her free. Let's first move the patchwork engine before we do some detrimental harm. Because this thing does not have a lot of weight to it, but it has some of the strongest thrusters you can imagine in it. Alright, let's flip this over. So the landing gears are on. Alright, and we're locked. So let's shut off all non-essential systems. Alright, guys. Well, there is at least good news. It's not moving. Because I may have forgotten a step. And by may have, I mean I did. I forgot to come back here and do this. Actually, I'm just going to do all of it in one reactor. I also forgot to put in a gravity generator at some point. Oh, is this considered a station? Convert to ship. AK's ship. Okay. Obvious issue that's immediately going to become prominent is that I'm moving, but I am not touching anything. And if I turn off the dampeners, it starts moving faster. And I have a pretty good idea of what's causing it. These gyroscopes are on and at full power, and I am not able to turn. We have a problem. Need to get us a little further away from the base while I go and sort this issue out, because I knew that pistons were going to cause an issue, and I just went with it, and it makes me so sad to say that I have to cut those all out now. Because of their little bit of waving, we are drifting. It's a good idea for something that's static, but not a good idea for something that moves. I have to be really careful because I do not have much hydrogen. So now I need to attach a temporary way of docking while I still have fuel, because that was not supposed to happen. And I need something that's not going to try to dock me very easily. Why in the hell are you being like that? You don't like to stick that way, do you? Okay. Let's see what we can do about parking. Right. That doesn't work, because I have no gravity generator on here. Well, we got a test flight. I'm going to call it here, and I'm going to park this before I make a mess. Alright, we'll be seeing you guys next time in the next video. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and always ring that bell so you know when a new video is coming out. Most of the time I release videos at 8 a.m. I'll do my best. Some days it's a little harder than others. Have a great one, you guys.